Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most terrifying archaeological discoveries. Among them is a 400-year-old mystery involving a mutiny, a psychopath, and a brutal mass murder. Australia's greatest cold case. For this list, we'll be looking at the most disturbing and frightening archaeological finds ever made, and we want to know which one freaks you out the most. Let's get started. Number 10. We have the Pit of Bones. In 1987, a cave was discovered in the Atapuerca Mountains in Spain, containing the skeletal remains of at least 28 people, dating back to around 430,000 BC. After years of research, one of the deceased was found to have been murdered. The victim's skull had been pieced back together, revealing 2 head wounds caused by a blunt object, such as a spear or stone axe. Most of the skulls found in the pit showed signs of bone-breaking blows to the head, indicating that violence was commonplace. It's eerie to think that this crime may have gone undiscovered for hundreds of thousands of years, but archaeologists are excited to learn more about early human settlement in Western Europe. Number 9. We have the knife-armed man. In 2018, archaeologists in northern Italy discovered a mass burial site dating back to somewhere between the 6th and 8th centuries CE. Among the remains was a middle-aged man whose arm had been amputated below the elbow and replaced with a knife, which he wore as a prosthesis. Evidence of extreme wear on his teeth and an unusual bone ridge in his shoulder suggested that he frequently tightened the knife straps with his mouth. A buckle and decomposed material thought to be leather were found near the weapon. Was he a serious medieval badass or a terrifying old-timey serial killer? You decide. Number 8. On our list are the Scottish Frankenstein mummies, discovered during a 2001 excavation of a Bronze Age settlement in Scotland. The intentionally mummified skeletons of a man and a woman, estimated to be around 3,000 years old, were found composed of body parts from multiple individuals. The woman had a male skull, female torso, and an unidentified arm, while the man was made up of bones from 3 different males. Additionally, the woman was holding 2 teeth belonging to the man's head, estimated to be at least a century older than her own body. This bizarre discovery remains unexplained. Number 7. We have the use of St. Mary's Chapel in Aberdeen as a detainment facility for suspected witches during the Great Scottish Witch Hunt in the 16th century. The chapel contained a 2-inch iron ring embedded in the wall, used to chain up the accused. The fear of witches was pervasive at the time, with many people believing in the supernatural and their ability to cause harm to crops, animals, and even people. Number 6 on our list is the discovery of evidence of ancient chemical warfare during the siege of Dura Europos in 256 CE. Excavations of the ancient Roman city in modern-day Syria revealed that the Romans were killed not by swords or spears, but by a lethal cloud of sulfur dioxide created from burning sulfur and pitch. Inhaling the smoke turned to acid in the soldiers' lungs, causing their deaths. This discovery indicates that the use of chemical warfare dates back much further than previously believed. Number 5. In 1845, Sir John Franklin led the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror on an expedition to explore the Northwest Passage in the Canadian Arctic. Despite being a seasoned explorer, Franklin and his crew of 129 became trapped in the ice and were never heard from again. The sailors faced harsh conditions and died from various causes, including starvation, lead poisoning, and hypothermia. Later expeditions found evidence of possible cannibalism among the wreckage. Number 4. During an excavation of a 17th century cemetery in Drabsko, Poland, researchers discovered several unusual graves. Some of the deceased had heavy stones or sickles placed on their necks, possibly to prevent posthumous mischief. One female skeleton was found with an iron sickle around her neck and a padlock on her toe, leading to sensational headlines about a female vampire. Traditional Slavic cultures used to cremate their dead, but after converting to Christianity, they began burying them, prompting fears of rising vampires. Number 3. In 1988, Archaeologists discovered the skeletal remains of nearly 100 newborns in a sewer beneath a bathhouse in Ashkelon, southern Israel. The infants showed no signs of injury or trauma and lived for less than 3 days, indicating that they were unwanted. Initially believed to be all female, further examination revealed that the remains were from both sexes. One theory is that the babies were discarded by sex workers who used the bathhouse as a workplace. Number 2. Initially assumed to be the remains of the Great Wall of China, the sacrificial pits of Shimao turned out to be something entirely different. This Bronze Age settlement, located along the Great Wall of China, was fortified and covered with a stepped pyramid. Archaeologists excavating the site found at least 6 pits filled with numerous human skulls, including those of 80 young girls. These skulls are believed to be the result of human sacrifices, as they were carefully placed, indicating ritual decapitations rather than simply being dumped. In ancient China, sacrifices were a common practice for various reasons, such as offerings to the river god Hubwa or funeral rites, where slaves were buried with their owners or concubines with their lords. However, it is still unclear why these 80 girls were sacrificed. Number 1. Australia's Murder Island, also known as Beacon Island. The site gained its sinister alias due to the tragic events of 1629. A Dutch vessel called the Batavia, carrying soldiers, sailors, and civilians on its maiden voyage to what is now Indonesia, experienced a failed mutiny attempt on board, resulting in a shipwreck and the death of dozens by drowning. The few hundred survivors were left stranded on nearby Beacon Island, where mutineers went on a rampage, murdering 125 of them, including men, women, and children, in just 3 months. To this day, it remains Australia's first and largest mass murder, with scientists continuing to unearth the remains of the victims and survivors who escaped the massacre. It's a tragic event that brings to mind the novel Lord of the Flies. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for our latest videos.